at the bottom. It didn't. That was the same time, same case at Mr. Garvey's time, and it's the same case now. And this is why we built the FACA Rock. What? Excuse me? That's the FACA Rock, the Federation of African Caribbean American Restaurant Owners Corporation. And how did we do it? We patterned it after Mr. Garvey, Mr. Duncan, a student of Mr. Garvey, just followed it, and we did the same thing. Anyway, I've got a lot to share with you. What went on during the weekend? Well, as you know, Friday was June 19th. Juneteenth, since several years ago, is a holiday, but it's much more than that. We were in Brooklyn at around the vicinity of Sister's Place, hanging around December 12th movement, and it was a block party. I met a lot of people that I know. In fact, my son and grandson were there. So you had three generations. And as everybody came up and said hi to me, my grandson would say, "Granddaddy, you know this?" I said, "Yeah." And he would say, "Granddaddy, you're famous." Well, it's not so much being famous, it's working for your people, working in the community. You don't need any acclamation, any titles. Just do the work. That will be your title. Anyway, so that was a Friday, June 19th. Saturday, June 20th, we had a chance to get up to Harlem to, excuse me, to support the black people, Africans, in support of Cuba. I mean, can you imagine a place not that large would have such an impact on the world stage? If not for what Cuba did, you would have Angola unliberated. Namibia would never have even thought of it. South Africa, Zimbabwe, Botswana, and Mozambique, one place. Brothers and sisters, when you believe in yourself, when you have your program for people, not for profit, where it's about the upliftment of your people, of your nation, there's nothing you cannot do. And Cuba proves that to us. So we had a chance to participate in that. And not only that, but it was recorded and broadcasted on WBAI during the 4 o'clock show on Saturday. But brothers and sisters, you know what? If little Cuba can do it, there's nothing to hold us back. I mean, I'm still flabbergasted how a country not that big right now, Cuba's got about 11 million people. They did not have 11 million people in 1975. So can you imagine it? I mean, right now they have 11. United States has got 330 million people. This is the size differential. And that island can make a difference. So of course we can do it. But, and this is the big but, you got to believe in a philosophy. You've got to embrace a philosophy. Cuba, their philosophy was, I don't want to call it race first, but it was Cuba first. Our people, our community first. Same thing. We don't have a problem with that. Oh, no, absolutely not. And that's why we support Cuba. And this morning, news came out. School wasn't supposed to be closed until the end of June. They've already closed school because of lack of fuel, lack of energy resources. So it didn't even make sense. They are strangling. Who is they? White people, the United States, America, NATO, the European Union. They're all trying to squeeze the last life out of Cuba. And we, as a people, we have to say, because when Africa called, Cuba answered. So when Cuba is in need, we have to answer. And that's what this was about Saturday. Okay, moving on. Sunday was June 21st. In this part of the world, we call that the summer solstice. Some of you were celebrating Father's Day. And since, now I'm a cook in training, chef in training, anytime I get an opportunity to cook, prepare a meal, invite people, we do that. It was just among us, immediate family. My brother and his two sons were there, my son and my grandson. Who else was there? My brother-in-law, Sister Esther and Oaksil. That's family. Well, I did all of the cooking except the rice. Oak still did that, but everything else, you name it, I did it. And I had another class on Saturday while I was in Harlem attending that program. Brother Write Up came. He came to attend. And while he was there, eventually I took him home and we spoke about doing the cabbage, doing the curry chicken, which I did. I did all of that. I also did the fish, everything. I mean, the batatas, the plantains, everything. Everything was done. And even the mabi. I did that. Everything except the rice. But anyway, what's the point? Any opportunity we get to come together, we have to seize the iron while it's hot. We basically had a seminar on a conference on the conditions of our people, how we tied that into the World Cup. Get this, brothers and sisters. My older brother, Henry Dugue, was at the World Cup on Friday in Philadelphia, watching Haiti play Brazil. Uh, he got the ticket free from a friend of his who's some big wig. I don't know what. Well, some big wig. They ended up sitting very close to the delegation from Haiti. Oh, Haiti? I thought it didn't exist. You're right, it doesn't. Uh, Ever since it's been made to be a failed state, and Trump in his first term called it a latrine, a latrine. You know what that means? And so there's nothing going on. There's gangs running the place, but all of these gangs are supported, created, financed, and even directed by the U.S. government. And their weapons are all strictly U.S. made. Anyway, they had an entourage of 20. Now, help me out, brothers and sisters. You've got a failed state in Haiti. There's no functioning government. It's lawlessness. You've got so-called criminal gangs running the ports, running traffic. And the current prime minister, by the way, it's on a rotating. They created what we call a nine-headed dragon, and I believe every 9 months, it's rotated. So the current prime minister is a guy by the name of Filzeme. I mean, brothers and sisters, it's not even worth discussing these guys. These are worse than puppets. Anyway, he and his entourage, 20 of them. I mean, they're going to be out of Haiti for the duration of the World Cup. That means they were in Boston, they're in Atlanta, and they were in Philadelphia. They'll be in Atlanta for Wednesday's game. I mean, this is a country that nothing is going on. Anyway, so my brother, his connection knows he's probably somehow connected to this puppet government. And so they were sitting very close to them. I mean, these were choice seats, very expensive. Well, they were free. Anyway, so the person my brother was with said, "Wow, that's the prime minister. So let's go take a picture." And my brother said to him, "Surely you jest." No, I'm not doing that. And so he went on, took the picture. None of the entourage, I think it was my brother Henry, his buddy, and two other guys. All of them were City College graduates. They all studied engineering at City College after I did. Anyway, so the lead guy ended up taking a picture. And then afterwards, my brother said to him, "This is a laughing stock. It's not even a government. It's not even a state. There's nothing going on in Haiti. I mean, we're from Haiti, but there's nothing to be proud of. These guys only continue the degradation, and they really just look worse than pansies, worse than puppets." Anyway, so ultimately, my brother was here yesterday as I was cooking. By the way, I was on my feet from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. cooking, cleaning, organizing. And after you fry fish, the top of your oven is, kind of messy. So you got to clean in everything. So I did all that before I went to the next step. Anyway, to make a long story short, so I'm speaking. My brother's telling me the story while we're all eating in the yard yesterday, and he said the number one reason he didn't want to take a picture is he didn't even care about the government or what people would think. He was worried about what I would say. So my brother Henry said, "Whoa." He said, "My brother Raymond is going to denounce me, calling me a collaborationist, a sellout, a Tom, a Sambo." I said, "Nah, that's okay." So, in other words, brothers and sisters, when you hold firm to your beliefs, even those that may not embrace it, they have to respect it and they'll follow the line. So so they went on and on. But the point is, we had a chance to discuss the World Cup, even the Knicks. And I said, but this is all escapism. But the worst thing is, money is being made, and we're not a part of it. And especially in basketball, we are the show. So that's why we need a reorient. That's why we need Race First. That's why we need UNIA. That's why we need PG. All of this falls in line. Anyway, so for those who haven't heard, on Friday, the U.S. men's national team did play and did win. So at this point, I believe, well, they're leading their group, but I think it's guaranteed they're going to win because of one of the other teams lost and the U.S. had already defeated them. So in that group is U.S., Australia, Paraguay, and Turkey. And so I think it's guaranteed. So now it's only a position. Where does US end? Either in first or second, but I think it's guaranteed they're going to end up in first. So they'll move on to the next, to the knockout stage. So we're very helpful, but we continue to support and promote young Timothy Ware. He's from our community. He's one of us. And I personally know young Timothy. In fact, I was around when he was born. I remember it clearly. So I've seen him, from childhood, toddler. So this is a person, and it's somebody I know. I know the mom, I know the dad, I know the uncle, I know the family. But these are Africans who are committed to upliftment of the race, committed to self-reliance. So independent of the personal relationship, it's what they stand for, what they do. We're talking Jamaica Breeze restaurant. We're talking Faka Rock. So for all those reasons, in fact, I don't know if many of you would know this. The Jamaica Breeze opened June 1st, 2013. After a couple weeks, young Timothy was sometimes in the store at the cashier. How do I know that? Because I ended up paying it while he was there. And I would get a kick out of that. He was like a teenager, young teenager, just starting out. And, he was already being groomed and trained like, you got to be a part of whatever we do and you have to assist. He actually enjoyed it. So for all those reasons, we have to support that. Okay, so that's June. And by the way, yesterday was the summer solstice. What is that? Okay, brothers and sisters, this will give you an idea of the greatness of our people, of Africa, of Kemet. Okay, all of these things that you call seasons, these are parts of the revolution of the earth around the sun. It takes the earth 365 and a quarter days to rotate around the sun. While the earth is rotating around the sun, it spins on its axis. So it's spinning while revolving, it rotates on its axis while it spins or revolves around the sun. The rotation on its axis causes day and night. The revolution around the sun causes the year. And there are different times of the year, depending upon where the sun is in relation to what the planet is doing. There are 4 different points of the year. 2 of the points are called equinox. By the way, these are all Latin words. They didn't invent the concept. Since they invaded, occupied it, destroyed, and famished and vanquished Africa and Kemet, they're going to, white man's ready to give him credit. But these Romans, these Greeks, they had to go into Africa to learn all of this. Anyway, equinox is a Latin word, Roman, that means equal night. That means equal night and day. That is the time of the year where there's exact number of hours of day equal the same hours of night. There are 2 of those in the year. One is the spring equinox. And this is important because Easter cannot be determined until you have that equinox. So this is not religious. This is about the phases of the earth, revolution around the sun, and what goes on. So there are 2 equinox, one in the spring, and that's what's used to determine Easter, believe it or not. And this is why Easter changes every year. I don't want to hurt anybody's bubble, but I know when my father died, that date will never change. But this guy, Christ, every year it's a different date. And now but it's never the same date 2 years in a row, because all of this is based on the spring equinox. Okay, now the second equinox is in the fall. That's in September. So you got one in March, one in September. Okay. That's when equal day, equal night. But why would there be equal day and equal night? Well, because as the earth is revolving around the sun, the angle, oh, by the way, the earth does not make a 90-degree angle with its axis. It's 23 and a half degrees. That 23 and a half degrees is what determines the seasons. That's what determines everything. And anyway, so while it's revolving around the sun, rotating on its axis, but crookedly, all of these happens. Anyway, there are two solstices. Oh, what is solstice? Solstice, again, is a Latin word. The first part, sol, is Latin for the sun. The second part, stis, is from sister. That is Latin for light. So what happens is solstice means sun. No, excuse me. Solstice, sister means stay up away. That means that those are the 2 points in the year. Oh, by the way, there are 2 equinoxes, 2 solstices. The summer solstice is supposedly, we call it the beginning of summer. No, what that means is this is the longest day of the year with the most light. That was what we celebrated yesterday. What is the winter solstice? That is the shortest day of the year. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention. It depends what part of the world you are. In the northern hemisphere, what is that? Well, there's a line that cuts the globe in half. It's called the equator. So the north of that, we call that the northern hemisphere. South of that, we call it the southern hemisphere. Anyway, getting back to it, the summer solstice is that part of the year that's the longest date. Well, what is the winter solstice? That's December 21. What is so special about that winter solstice as opposed to any other solstice like the summer? I'll tell you why. Because in this part of the world, the northern hemisphere, which is where Kemet, ancient Egypt, and Sudan is located, what these Africans, they looked at the stars and then they realized there were patterns. So they call them constellations. There's like Virgo, Scorpio, Aries, Capricorn, the Bull, so many. Gemini, Taurus, all of them. Africans created that. How do we know that? If you ever go to Egypt, some of us have been there 3 times. You go into any temple, you see on the ceiling all of these constellations. But what's the problem with that? Those paintings are more than 4,000 years old, more than 6,000. Gee, we're in 2026 supposedly, so it's only been around 2,000 years. Well, 2,000 years since they've started to record. So we're talking all of this. But anyway, let me get to the point. It's about the winter solstice. For 3 days after December 21, for 3 days, because of the angle, it's high up in the sky. Get this. It seems as if you can't see the sun in this hemisphere for 3 days, 22, 23, and 24 in December. On the 25th of December, it looks like the sun is born again. And get this, because of the constellations going on, it looks like it's in the crux, C-R-U-X. And because of the patterns, because of the 3, what do you call them? The 3 stars, the 3 wise men, because of that, it looks like it's coming out of the constellation called Virgo. So the sun is born out of Virgo. Africans had been celebrating this forever. So when all of these other people came and invaded, occupied, and destroyed Africa, they took it for themselves. First, it was, a whole bunch. Then the Greeks, then the Romans, the Persians. Believe it or not, the Persians in 525 BCE, when Persia defeated Kemet, that was the last time any African ever held the throne of Kemet. 525 BCE, Persia. Okay? Anyway, getting back to it. So That was yesterday. That was June 21st. So we had a chance to discuss. While the food was excellent, we had a chance to discuss and bring together minds and have our people look at it. I mean, for me now, whenever I see anything, even let's say a World Cup game, I'm looking at the big picture, money being made, who's in the stands, and the intricacies of the racism involved, how they will try to steal these matches from our countries, how our countries are being beleaguered, and basic. And we even discussed Vertier. What is Vertier? Okay, November 1803, in Vertier, outside of Cap Haitien, in what was then called Saint-Domingue, which is now called Haiti, which, by the way, is where my family is from, Cap Haitien. At that Battle of Vertier, the Africans finally decimated, defeated the French. I mean, whipped them, waxed them. After they were defeated, Dessalines even allowed them to go. Like, go ahead. Go ahead. Where are you going? I mean, it was a thorough defeat. So November 1803, the Battle of Vertier. The Africans from Haiti wanted to put that on their shirt. There's nothing political. It's the legacy. It's, for example, it's similar to somebody putting the national dish on their shirt, what their shirt is known for. Simple as that. Well, we're not calling anybody. Mr. Trump had a problem with that. Informed FIFA, cut that out. Now, we had a long discussion on this last night. And I asked my brother, if you're head of state, what do you do? Because the Haitian national team was told, if you want to put that on, you will not be able to participate in the World Cup. By the way, Haiti's already made them. They got $10 million for this, so their money is already secure. It's not like frozen assets that some countries steal from others. No, that money is already deposited. My point is this: what do you do as a head of state? My brother took the position. You know what? It's for the people. We worked so hard to get to this event. It's a world event. I can't walk away. I said, okay, true. Let me tell you what happened in 1980. After the Soviet Union walked in their guy in Kabul, in Afghanistan, because these guys were not doing right. And by the way, Afghanistan shares a border with the Soviet Union in those days, because the Soviet Union included Russian Federation as well as 15 current states. So Afghanistan shared a border with the Soviet Union, and the Soviet Union cannot have bad guys running the show. So they walked in to bring their guy. What did Jimmy Carter do as president of the United States? He said, you know what? And the Olympics in 1980 was going to be in Moscow. Jimmy Carter said, guess what? We're boycotting it. This is not about sports, not about money. It's about integrity, so-called. So the U.S. national team did not attend the biggest event on the planet, the Olympics. So I reminded my brother, I said, well, hold it. He did it. Of course, it's a different scenario. This is the United States of America, the biggest thing there is on the planet, the biggest economy. It's not going to make a dent. It actually did. But, at the end of the day, it's not going to mean anything. I said, okay. But it's about, well, I don't know. I can't speak about the U.S. government, but I know what it is. I know the integrity of someone, let's say, like Cuba. When Cuba made that decision, and you have to understand, these African countries, they couldn't reach out to anybody. Yeah, China was struggling. Yeah, Soviet Union was more interested in détente. That's meaning, there's Cold War, let's keep it cool. We don't need to go crazy. So Cuba was the only one they could reach out to. Said, can you help us? We're about to go down. And Fidel Castro made that decision. And then he sent Raul Castro, his brother, his confidant, second in charge, to go and plead their case to the Soviet Union. The point is, as I was pointing out to my brother yesterday, I said, if I'm head of state, I said, you know what? See, brothers and sisters, if it means so much to you, if your value system has been co-opted, where you embrace this and accept it, yeah, well, you do what they did. But if you understand, this is about integrity, death before dishonor, that, what I mean, think about it. Who could have imagined Africans standing up to white people? Not just regular white folks, the top three superpowers on the planet at the time in succession. Can you believe it? First, they beat the Spanish, then they beat the British, and then they took out France. I mean, this is amazing. No, they can dilute it, they can denigrate it. And as Mr. Garvey reminds us, the whole world has made being black a crime. Instead of making it a crime, I hope to make it a virtue. So no. Anyway, so that was the spirited conversation. And then my brother-in-law, who was also there yesterday, both brothers-in-law, is traveling to Atlanta for the Wednesday game. So he's leaving tomorrow and he'll be back Thursday. And so, I mean, brothers and sisters, I'm very proud of the African states in the Caribbean. And I mean, by African states, I'm including Haiti. But we already know our value. We don't need this to accentuate or to clarify it. So anyway, we're looking for Timothy Ware. That I can tell you. Okay, so that was the 21st of June. Okay, today, June 22nd, 1943, in Detroit, 3-day race attack. Eventually, the National Guard has to send 6,000 soldiers. This was 1943. The reason, always the same reason. White folks deciding that they're not going to allow us to even have a decency of living. The World War II was going on, and some of the jobs, fortunately, had to open up. And there were whites who were upset that blacks, but they had their jobs. They didn't lose. These whites did not lose their jobs. But the fact that black people could be hired, I mean, brothers and sisters, just doing basic decency and you get attacked. So it was 3 days, 6,000 National Guard. It started on the 20th of June. It ended today, June 22nd, 1943. And why must we remember these things? Well, those who forget the past are always going to repeat it. So if we don't know where we've come from, if we don't know what we've had to go through, we will not appreciate what we're doing and what we need to do. And one more thing, I got to go back to the rock. For those of you who are on the chat, the East Indian and the Julie Mangoes came in. I bought 2 boxes of Julie Mangoes. I'm down to 2 mangoes left. Yesterday, everybody wanted one, so I had to let them have it. So I'm down to 2. So I purchased the 2 boxes of Julie Mangoes, and I've only had 1. Can you imagine? 2 boxes, I've only had 1. But it's my pleasure to share with them. It's my pleasure to brag. We get this at The Rock. I mean, no other place has it. So I thank The Rock. I thank Sister Keisha. Oh, one more thing. Friday, we also had the fresh fish. I look forward to it because I knew I would be preparing a meal. Oh, I can't tell you how much I enjoyed it. Well, I actually didn't eat any of it because I'm vegan. So I only had the rice and the cabbage. But the point is, it's the preparation, to be able to prepare food for people. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. Okay, that's the 22nd. The 23rd, that's tomorrow, brothers and sisters. That's the 113th anniversary of the birth of the Undaunted One, of the ideological son of Marcus Mosiah Garvey. We're talking about none other than the Honorable Carlos A. Cooks. So June 23rd, it rained today. It's expected to rain all day today as well as Wednesday. But nonetheless, we have to honor and pour libation for Carlos A. Cooks, Who is Carlos A. Cooks? Okay, he was born June 23rd, 1913, in San Pedro de Macorís in the Dominican Republic, to parents who were immigrants from, oh, I am at a loss. I know where they're from. Uh, One of the islands in the Eastern Caribbean. It'll come to me. Saint Martin, whose parents came from Saint Martin. The father was out there working on sugarcane factories, sugarcane plantations to make the sugar. Anyway, uh, Mr. Cooks is born 1913. What's going to happen a year later, 1914, in Kingston, in Jamaica, on July 20th? The Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey is going to found the UNIA. Uh, Ultimately, Mr. Garvey is going to leave Jamaica in 1916, March 24th, to head up to Harlem to New York. By 19, after he starts the UNIA, well, no, he started in 1914, but when he gets to the United States, March 24, 1916, by May 2nd, 1917, the UNIA is on a trajectory no one has ever seen, no one, and it's never been done. It's going to grow by leaps and bounds everywhere. By 1919, Mr. Cooks is 6 years old. His father is going to found the UNIA in San Pedro de Macorís. In fact, the Liberty Hall, which is where the UNIA meets, the Liberty Hall will be in one of the buildings that Mr. Cooks, his name is Henry Cooks, owned. Whoa, how did a laborer, an immigrant from St. Martin, travel to Dominican Republic as a laborer, eventually get to own buildings and homes? He did that. Very entrepreneurial, very hardworking, he and his wife. Okay, they found the UNIA in one of their buildings, and guess who's 6 years old and is attentively listening to all of this? Who's going to absorb this? Eventually, his parents, they're forced out of the Dominican Republic through persecution. So the mom and dad head out from San Pedro de Macorís and arrive in the Bronx. Mr. Cooks is going to stay in Dominican Republic. Let me see, they start 1919. I believe the parents left by 1923. He's going to stay there until he's 16, 1929. 1929 is when he leaves San Pedro de Macorís. 16 years old, in having been bred in the UNIA. Can you imagine that? It takes a village to raise a child. In this case, his uncles, his families all helped him. And while he was in the Dominican Republic, well, you can call him Dominican because he was born there and he spoke Spanish. But he learned a lot of things. What did he learn? The secret society called Sacre of Africans in Haiti who had migrated into Dominican Republic. It's a replica of ancient African spirituality, where everything is esoteric, where you're taught to never allow others to know what you're thinking. Everything must always be planned, executed, organized. You must have discipline. You must learn to fast. All of this, sacré. Cooks absorbs all of this. So when he leaves, when his parents finally reach out for him, 1929, he gets to Bronx. What does he do? Only thing he knows the only thing he can do, look for the UNIA. If he's going to join the UNIA or become a part of the advanced division up in Harlem. In fact, Mr. Cooks is going to become the youngest captain in the African legions. I mean, he was you can figure out the rest. He was a tough guy, and he really personified race first, personified a man's man. None of these coward sniveling puppets. No, I say what I mean what I say. He was a real tough guy. And let me tell you some of the things that Mr. Cooks is known for. Do you know there was a brothel called Rockabella, believe in that, in Harlem. Who's living in Harlem? Black people. Who's running Harlem? White people, especially Italian mobsters. So the brothel involved black women as the workers, as the sex workers, and white men as the Johns. Let me tell you, it has nothing to do with morality, man. No, it has nothing to do with that. It's about race first. How dare you allow these aliens, these uncouth, uncivilized savages to disrespect our black women? Nah, Cooks would have none of that. None of that, brothers and sisters. So he organized a group to take out Rockabella. Can you? I mean, this is bold. Oh, by the way, how old is Cooks? He's 19 years old when he's doing this. 19. He gets in the United States at 16. In 3 years, he's had enough. He's going to stop this. 19. Let me tell you, when I was 19, I was not thinking of those things. I'm still amazed and filled with much respect for Carlos A. Cooks, the Honorable Carlos A. Cooks. 19 organizes that. They raid the brothel. Let me tell you what they do. All of the black women, they tie them up and said, get out. The black Johns, they beat them down and said, get out. The white guys, they beat and brutalize them. The cops come in and they end up having an altercation with the police. Can you believe that? 19 years old. Nah, this is a real tough guy. No, you couldn't have produced a better Garveyite than Carlos A. Cooks. So, as I said, 19 years old. We're talking 1932, this is happening. Okay, Cooks now has to organize our people. He says, well, it's about self-reliance, it's about racial uplift, and it's got to be race first, and it all leads to nationhood. So he strengthens the African legions, but you need economics. So with his entourage, they convince our people to pool resources together to purchase first businesses and then buildings. What is the difference between what Mr. Cooks did and what Mr. Duncan did? Big difference. Mr. Duncan is a easygoing, respectful, loving African who wants you to join, and he convinces you to pool our resources to create the Fakarak. Cooks wasn't as diplomatic. He was more a straight shooter. I wouldn't call it extortion, but it certainly wasn't cajoling. No, it was more like either you pull up your resources or you won't be around to enjoy your resources. A lot of people got into it, and that's the seed money that's used to build businesses and buy buildings. So once you create a business, well, that's revenue. With the revenue, use the profit to buy buildings and then create more jobs. It's a simple formula. The whole planet does it. We don't do it. It's not that we don't do it. We're prevented from doing it. We have to be created to be dysfunctional. We always have to be unreliable, untrusting of each other. So, brothers and sisters, if you think this through, meaning this has to be planted. It's not organic. It's not natural. No, it is not. And same thing like the enslavement of our people. It's not natural. It's not organic. It was done physically. And then, I don't want to digress into the reparations that our people are actively pursuing, but they're related in the sense that a travesty, a catastrophe, a gravest crime against humanity was done. And guess what? The people that did it are still doing it. So we need to stand up to it and control our destiny. Same thing, what Mr. Cooks is able to do. So, and it's a very simple process. Pool resources together, build a business. The business gets revenues. The revenues make profit. The profit is used to build more businesses and to recircle the economy, recircle the funds in the economy. And this is how you create jobs. So, I mean, Mr. Cooks was just following Mr. Garvey. No difference. And this is why uh, Mr. Cooks is so important. So tomorrow will be 113 years since the birth of Mr. Cooks. And he's buried at Long Island National Cemetery, Wellwood Avenue. Uh, it's east of Farmingdale. So we'll see. Well, I'm sure we'll be there. Okay, moving on. That's tomorrow the 23rd. Okay, what's going on the 27th? That's this Saturday at CMOTAP. I don't have to tell you. All roads lead to CMOTAP. 2 o'clock. For those who may not be familiar with this, CMOTAP has lectures and presentations every fourth Saturday of the month. And that's what this Saturday is, the 27th of June. Okay, what's so special? Dr. Wesley Muhammad of the Nation of Islam will be discussing. His topic is called the pot plot. It's about cannabis and marijuana. Not the same thing. There's cannabis, there's marijuana. And he's going to discuss the chemical ingredients that have been implanted and what the results are. Why so many of our people, youth, adolescents are dysfunctional because of this marijuana and what it leads. And you'll be amazed. I've heard him speak before, so I'm looking forward to it. So it'll be this Saturday, June 27th, starting at 2 p.m. And I will add, CMOTAP is on real time. You will, oh, by the way, you need to call Dr. McIntosh's number to RSVP because we expect a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people do come, but especially to hear Dr. Wesley Muhammad. And you can be certain the Nation of Islam entourage will also be there. So we're looking for that. That's this Saturday, June 27th. Okay, what happened last week in Ghana? There was a reparations conference. President John Mahama. Remember, he was the one representing the African Union who asked for the non-binding vote at the United Nations. You know, that vote, that was in March. Well, there was a reparations conference. And Wednesday we'll be getting an outline of what happened. Brothers and sisters, you want to talk about reparations? Let me give you an example of how you get reparations. On February 28th of this year, the Zionist settler colony called Israel and the United States government illegally snuck attack the Islamic Republic of Iran. That was February 28th. It lasted 39 days. Let's call it 40 days. Since then, now they're doing an agreement, a memorandum of understanding. Brothers and sisters, you can call it whatever you want to. This is a peace treaty where one side is the victor, the other side is the loser, and the victor is the Islamic Republic. Anyway, what's my point? The point is, they're getting their reparations. Yes, Iran is getting their reparations. See, this is how you get your reparations. You got to take it. You have to defeat the other side. Brothers and sisters, the reparations is absolutely important, absolutely moral. It is correct. No doubt about it. And an injustice has been done, work has been done, and now there must be a reparations. And it doesn't have to be what do you call that? Financial or monetary? No, it must be holy. You know, we have to be repaired. My concept of reparations is just get out of my face, white people. I never want to see you. If I never see you, it'll be too soon. That would be my reparations. Just stay away. And my argument is, once we're no longer around them, I bet you we won't be as sick as much. We won't be as sick as mentally. We won't be as sick as physically. And we'll enjoy each other. We'll see how beautiful black people are, how beautiful black women are, how handsome black men are, that we're no longer forced to follow all of their idiosyncrasies, all of the nonsense that they push on us that we have to fall for. But anyway, that's a different issue. But getting back to it, you better believe Iran's going to get their reparations. Oh, for sure. Why? The Strait of Hormuz. That's the ace in the back pocket, in the front pocket, all the pockets. And, that settler, Zionist, genocidal state can kill as many people in South Lebanon and Gaza as they want. Uh, Iran is just content. You know what? We'll close the Strait of Hormuz. Let's see how long the economy of the world can last. And everybody will be forced to force that settler colony, that Zionist genocidal settler colony, cut it out. So, brothers and sisters, that's the clearest example of how to get reparations. So now, what do we need to do? Well, we need to come together. And I've got a solution for you. I've got a philosophy. It's called race first. I mean, think about it. Just think about it. Let me give you an example. When I started wearing African clothes at the corporate job I had overnight, first time I went to Africa, President General took me there. That was in January of 2018. That was January. I went back there in March. I went back there in July. It's where it's coming. It's coming. You can see the trajectory. Then we went back there in January of 2019. So in a year, I'd been to Africa 4 times. Well, all my life, I'd never stepped foot. Now, by January 2019, I said, what am I doing here? I said, I can't even rationalize working for white folks anymore. And I was actually very capable professional what I did. Made a ton of money for whoever, or the place I worked at. And I said, what am I doing? But by January 2019, even by after July of 2018, I started wearing African clothes. Because the first time I went there in January 2018, we had to go find a tailor. Let's go. Because a lot of clothes that you may see in Africa, they're not made in Africa, mostly Chinese. But, you have to go and find a tailor, find the material. It's a process. And one thing I have to add about the Sahel states, specifically Burkina Faso, they make their own material. They make their own thread. That's impressive, brothers and sisters. That alone, that means the world to me. Anyway, so after July of 2018, you can see the trajectory. You can see the evolution. I said, wow, what am I doing? Wearing white suits, white people's suits, Western clothes, a tie. By the way, some of you have never seen me in a tie, but I actually make ties, off my neck, off my knee. I mean, bow ties. That's what you do when you play the slave at a corporate job. Anyway, so you can see the movement, and I said, "What am I doing? How can I continue doing this?" And then on the other side, you see the President General. He's making the same move. In fact, I was following him because he was in Africa much more frequent than I was, and every time he went, he had like a dozen suits made. He's wearing his suits. So I said, what am I doing? So I said, let me start wearing my suit at this corporate job. And at first, it was like, what are you doing? I said, well, oh, by the way, they had gone from basic suit wearing to casual, business casual. But I still wore a blazer. Actually, the only thing I didn't do was wear a tie. I still had a shirt, a blazer, sometimes a whole suit, but without a tie. That was business casual for me. And one day, I think it was like October of 2018, I walked in with my dashiki on. And everybody was like, what is this? So I said, well, business casual. This is my business casual. And they thought it was just going to be a one time. And then 2 days later, I wore another one. And then the next day, every day. And yeah, at first I would wear my dashiki and then put my blazer on top of my dashiki. Then I said, I don't need the blazer. And then after a while, you'd be surprised, brothers and sisters. Everybody was complimenting me. Now, it could be hypocritical. I don't doubt it. With these people, you never know. But that's the point is death before design. Hold your ground. And so by January 2019, after I went to Africa, when I came back, I said, forget it. I was kind of wearing African clothes some days. After January 2019, every day, only wear African clothes. And then what PG did was, which was a stroke of genius, he had the red, black, and green sewed onto his suits. I said, man, that's a good idea. I did the same thing too. In fact, I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, you can see it on my pocket, the red, black, and green. Anyway, brothers and sisters, it's an evolution. And one of the reasons why I had to do it, I had to free my mind. See, how can we say we're still free? Look at the clothes we wear. Look at the foods we eat. Look at the gods we worship. Look at the clothes we wear. Look at the names we have. Look at the language we speak. All of these are slave languages. When we learned all of these while we were enslaved. And so by freeing our mind, by wearing African clothes, man, I felt like Superman. I said, yeah. Anyway, so that's the point of freeing your mind. And okay, we're getting ready to close out. And one thing I wanted to mention over 2 days ago, the 2 African states run by African queens, we're talking Namibia, and I can't recall the sister's name. I call it Triple N. She's got a first name N, middle name N, last name N. We're talking Namibia, and the country we're visiting in October, Tanzania. The 2 sisters sat down and met. I mean, this wasn't a photo op. This is business. Tanzania is getting destabilized by the European Union, and Kenya is their boy, is their whipping boy doing it, and Namibia is still under sanctions. So they got together, and I'll report to you tomorrow. But to see 2 African queens, no, you feel like, yeah, we're going someplace. So, brothers and sisters, tomorrow we'll discuss Carlos A. Cooks, and of course, the President General will be on discussing the race first aspect of the World Cup and why everything is worse first. Brothers and sisters, what, you think you're just going to a restaurant? No. You think you're just going to a church? No, everything is race first. And the sooner we embrace it, the sooner we'll be free. My name is Raymond Dugue, and I'm at your service. Thank you for being a part of the audience, of the viewing audience of the UNIA Rock Media. Today has been Monday, June 22nd, 6266 or 2026. And thank you for being a part of the UNIA Rock Media with your host, the current President General and Administrator, the Honorable Michael R. Duncan, and your co-host, the First Assistant President General of the UNIA, Raymond Dugue, and I'm at your service. So all of you out in UNIA Rock Media Land, please raise your beautiful black, right, and noble fist and repeat after me. Africa, for the Africans, those at home, and those abroad, because it can only be one God, one aim, and one destiny. And of course, race first. Long live the UNIA. Long live the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Long live the Honorable Jean-Jacques Dessalines Emperor. Long live the Honorable Michael R. Duncan. And finally, long live the undaunted one. Tomorrow we honor him, 113 years, the most honorable Carlos A. Cooks. Have a good night. See you tomorrow.
The Community Focus Show is brought to you by Jamaica Breeze.